Hello and welcome to this session on the future of cloud accounting. In today's session, we're going to compare Sage Intacct, Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central, Acumatica, and Oracle NetSuite. I want to say a big thank you to my friends at DSWI that are showing NetSuite and Business Central today, and my friends at ASWI that are showing Acumatica. This just proves it's really good to have friends. And this has been a lifelong dream of mine to actually show these top 4 solutions all in one webinar. This is a first, and it's the only presentation that I know of that all 4 were going to be presented during one 50-minute session. So we're going to start with just a quick high-level comparison, get down into some nice 8 to 10-minute demos on each product, and then we'll have a wrap-up session at the end. So let's start with Sage Intacct, things that differentiate it from its competitors. So this is a product that was built in the cloud for the cloud. So a little bit different than some of the competitors. It's always been a cloud solution, is multi-tenant from the very beginning, has quarterly updates. None of the competitors have updates more frequently than Intacct. Strong use of dimensions. One of the things I'm really excited about for the Intacct world is their recent release of Sage Intacct Construction was released February 21st, and this is the replacement for Sage 300 CRE or Timberline, really the product that dominates the mid-market construction. So this is a really exciting time for those folks. Intacct has historically been a great fit for companies that have a lot of legal entities, franchises that own, tons of, say, Dunkin' Donuts or Denny's or IHOPs or those kinds of things. Service organizations, does really well in the nonprofit space and project-based companies. It does have multi-currency, but no multi-language as of today. We will see that over the next year or so, but none of that, and falls way short of the competition in that aspect. And I would not rate it as a great fit for heavy distribution or manufacturing. I would choose one of the other products. But some great things about Intacct, of course, are dashboards, unlimited dashboards, all real time with drill down. Of course, the reporting is very strong, has a report writer built into the core product. Shared chart of accounts, shared vendor master, shared. So if you've got 80 legal entities, you only have to set up your chart of accounts once. Imagine that. Tremendous product or feature called Collaborate that allows you to put transactional notes back and forth between your colleagues. Really cool feature. Workflows are very strong in the system and are throughout the product. And then because it was built to be a very open architecture product built for the marketplace, it has a very strong development community and a strong marketplace with all kinds of great add-ons for the product that are guaranteed to never get broken through the quarterly updates. Let's talk about Microsoft. So Microsoft, of course, dominates so much of our world, and they've done such a great job with their release of Office 365. And so they've made Business Central a part of that 365 offering, and it is very inexpensive. So I would, from a price standpoint for the software, it's unbelievable how inexpensive it is. On the flip side, the product is very feature rich and very configurable, and so there is a cost of implementing it. It is not the quickest product that we're looking at today to deploy, but is certainly the least expensive from a software standpoint. It is, of course, Business Central is the largest truly global mid-market solution. And because it was originally developed in Denmark, very strong multi-currency, intercompany consolidations, works really well with GST, HST, Works great in Europe, Canada, Mexico, and of course in the United States. Appsource, there's basically 700 apps you can plug into this product. I would pick this solution for distribution, possibly light manufacturing. I would probably stay away from it if you have a lot of inter-entity type transactions. I think I would lean more towards Intacct than this product, but a great solution from Microsoft, and definitely one to consider. Let's talk about Acumatica. His product has some real differentiators. It is the only product that we're looking at today that could also be deployed on-premise. So some might argue, well, if you can deploy it on-premise, that it's not a true cloud solution. It's debatable because they do have a multi-tenant solution that has updates twice a year. So that is an offering, or of course, you're going to have the on-premise. But here's the big one: unlimited user licensing. Yes, you heard it right. Unlimited user licensing for free. So they don't do their pricing like everybody else does based on the number of named users. Here, it's based on the number of transactions. And that can happen in multiple different ways, but it's typically based on the number of accounts receivable invoices, or based on the number of accounts payable invoices, whichever is higher. That's typically how the product is priced out for Acumatica. A really great option if you need to have a lot of users in the system and you're kind of low volume. It's a no-brainer. Acumatica is a great fit. And then the customer bill of rights, where Acumatica customers absolutely own their own data. That does get a little convoluted with some of the competitors here. Exactly, who owns the data and how hard it is to actually access your data with some of the competitors, but Acumatica makes it very simple. And you can access your data and download it anytime. I would definitely pick Acumatica for service industries, heavy manufacturing. It's a great fit. Construction, definitely worth considering this product. And I really like the company. Really like Acumatica as a company. Let's talk about Oracle NetSuite. So Oracle NetSuite is a true cloud multi-tenant solution. It is arguably the gorilla in the room, has a really good market share. They have also deployed this solution called Suite Success. And Suite Success is really an implementation methodology where they try to offload a lot of the implementation onto the customer and use some less expensive resources to support the customers. So there's kind of a mixed, I'm kind of getting mixed reviews on this. Certainly is a lower cost way of delivering the solution, but there's also been, some issues with that, of course. But absolutely, NetSuite is in most of these cloud offerings when we're looking at them. With that, I want to go right away to Bob Foster. And Bob, I'd love to have you show us Sage Intacct. Thank you, Bob.
Well, hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us in this discussion of Sage Intacct. The business world is full of cliches, and one of my favorite happens to be from several years ago, where they talked about success. To be successful, you need to begin with the end in mind. And in business, of course, the end in mind is that we're able to make good decisions so that we're able to run our businesses wisely and effectively. Now, we have another source here, Mark Twain, who tells us that good decisions come from experience, but sadly enough, experience comes from bad decisions. We take it a little bit differently. We think good business decisions come from timely reports that are up to date and that are accurate. Good decisions come from real-time reports, role-based dashboards, drill-down capability so you can see the actual source transaction, flexible reporting, KPI snapshots, and the ability to draw this up on your computer, on your pad, or on your phone. We're convinced that good decisions come from Sage Intacct. So let's take a look at Sage Intacct. Here we're looking at the executive dashboard for this particular company. Now, in this particular case, it's a nonprofit. Uh, Sage Intacct works very, very well with churches, not-for-profits, as well as restaurants, for-profits. They are in a wide range of industries. Now, what we're looking at here is what's called the top level. And so we have several other entities underneath this. The top level is where everything is consolidated. So any report that you print at the top level is going to include all the entities. You can still slice and dice on any of those entities. And we're able to do that through something called dimensions. And so in this particular case, for this dashboard, we have the ability to pull down on any of our departments in this particular case, any of our classes, which is sort of a free form dimension, and any of our funds in this particular case. And so we're able to, again, adjust the dashboard based upon any of that. Now, as I move my mouse across these areas here, these are the KPIs we talked about. In Intacct speak, these are performance cards. And anytime anything turns blue, I have the ability to drill down on that item. And so I'm going to drill down on this particular accounts payable here. You see what we have here. Here is our total. If I click on that, I'm able to come over here and see the journal entry that happened, that created it. If I continue to drill down, beg your pardon, if I continue to drill down, I'm able right now to see the actual invoice that went in. Actually, I can go a little further here and get to the invoice. So from here, I've actually gone from my dashboard into accounts payable. I'm looking at the bill that was created for this particular transaction. So what that allows me to do, without having to look up, without having to call the accounts payable department, without having to wait for a report to be printed, I'm able to trace this all the way down to the bill that happened in the accounts payable department. When I'm done, I can just work my way back up here, and I'm back at my dashboard. Now over here, the dashboards are customizable, or you're able to build them however you want. So you're able to have lots of different roles. So if your inventory manager needs a particular type of dashboard, if your department heads need a dashboard that is strictly looking at their department, not anybody else's, you're able to create them, limit who's able to see them, and have that again as the first item that comes up when they look. Now, my church happens to use Intacct, and they have every pastor, every department head has their own dashboard. When they want to know how they're doing compared to budget, when they want to know how their programs are running, they're able to go in here without going to the finance department and take a look at what they have going on. Now, in this particular case, on this one, we have two financial statements. We have the trial balance over here. We have a budget comparison financial statement over here. You'll notice that this financial statement, we have this broken down so that it is looking at individual. I got a slide here, so we're going to move over. We're taking a look at every department, and so we have a column for each one of those. Now, the way that we're able to do that is if we go into the general ledger, we have the ability here to create financial reports very, very simply. It's all very, very powerful. And we have the ability to select the format, select the groupings. Now we have down here something called account groups. This is how you group your assets, your liabilities, equity, revenue, expenses, etc., in whatever way you want to. And that way you can get your subtotals exactly the way that you want it to be. And then what you do is you're able to bring them all together and create a financial report. And so by coming into here, you're able to create very, very simply the reports that you wish. Again, you're able to drill down on here to go into specific entities, specific locations, specific departments. Now, we talked about live data. And so if we go back to our dashboard, you'll notice over here that we have 4604. Now, what I've done here is I've gone ahead and prepared an invoice here from a vendor. And so if I go in here, and I've already got this set up, I'm not going to show you how to enter a bill. I'm sure you've all done that plenty of times. But I'm going to go ahead and post this. And so this has gone into this system. If I go back to my dashboard, and we give this maybe a couple of seconds to catch up with itself, right there, that quickly, I have current up-to-the-minute data on what's going on with my finances. So if my CEO comes down to me and asks me a question on what's going on, if one of my department heads wants to know what's going on, the information is available that quick. That is real-time reporting that you're able to see just that quickly. Now, if we go down here on the dashboard, you'll see that we have a graph. In this particular case, we just have it broken down by company expenses. Now, you're able, on any of these, you're able to click on that particular segment of the graph, and it will again show you what are the transactions, or excuse me, what are the balances. And from there, again, it's blue, so you're able to drill down on that and go and see the actual transactions, even all the way down to the accounts payable invoice. And we can work our way all the way across there. So as we said, good decisions are based on real-time reports. We've shown you how that happens. You're able to put in a bill, and within a matter of seconds, you're able to see that as part of your financials. Role-based dashboards, so that your department heads are able to see only their information, but they're able to see it whenever they need to. We've shown you the drill down capability, where you're able to go all the way down to an invoice in AP in order to see where that transaction came from. Flexible reporting. The dashboards are customizable. You can build your own, as well as the financial statements, so that you're able to get the presentation that your board will understand. KPI snapshots. We've shown you that with the performance cards, and then again, you're able to bring this up with your computer, your pad, or your phone. Good decisions basically happen when you never have to say, I'll get back to you on that. And with real live data from Sage Intacct, you're able to do that. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. And if you have any questions, I'm sure we'll be glad to answer them. You have a great day.
Good morning, Houston CPAs, and thank you for joining us today for a walkthrough of several mid-market ERP and accounting packages. My name is Mark Doherty with DSWI, and I'll be talking to you a bit about Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central, which we'll be referring to simply as Business Central or BC throughout the presentation. DSWI is a boutique consulting firm based in Sugar Land, Texas, with team members stretching from El Paso to Indianapolis. We've been in business for 14 years and have grown to 22 employees. In that time, we've conducted hundreds of Business Central and Nav projects, Nav being the legacy 25-year-old non-cloud version of BC. We're a Tier 1 Microsoft Cloud Solutions provider and also assist clients with Office 365 deployments, Power BI analytics implementations, along with Microsoft Azure hosting. So why would we choose Business Central? Well, quite simply, BC is the largest truly global mid-market ERP solution in the world, with well over 165,000 customers in 50-plus countries. The product was launched in Denmark in 1985, pre-Euro, and because of the nature of the Western European business operations at that time, features like multi-currency operations, intercompany trade, and consolidations are built into the core of the system. There are localizations available for 45 countries, and that's critical since many of the multi-country localizations extend Business Central to handle government statutory requirements like GST and HST in Canada, or the DIOT declaration statement in Mexico. The 43 language packs allow users in France and users in the US to view the application screens in their own language while working with the same data. With the new Business Central Cloud infrastructure, Microsoft has created Appsource, a marketplace where end users can search for companion apps to Business Central. Need enhanced shipping features that integrate directly to UPS and FedEx? It's on Appsource. Looking for some way to streamline your multi-company operations and data management? Check on Appsource, it's there. Looking to process payroll in Business Central and get away from a third-party processor and those third-party processor fees? Look on Appsource, there are options available. There are over 700 apps on Appsource, and these apps go through stringent testing and documentation reviews by Microsoft to ensure they do not cause issues with the core application when installed. Microsoft releases 2 major upgrades per year in April and October. Customers receive continuous communication from Microsoft about the features available in the upcoming release and are able to schedule their environment upgrade when it fits their business schedule, not Microsoft's. So let's take a look at the jobs module. But before we do that, let's review a couple of general concepts about jobs and how they're structured in Business Central. At its core, a job is a combination of a customer with defined work activities to perform for that customer. Jobs can be billable to clients or internal Kpis projects to help customers track costs for internal work. Jobs can be configured to handle time and expense billing projects or more complex percent of completion capital projects. Jobs have budgets and jobs have actuals. The budgets can be made up of inventory items, both bought or built if you're doing production. And resources are, people or things that you rent on a daily or weekly basis. Actuals are posted job ledger entries that can be recorded as usage to the job, both from a revenue and a cost perspective. And real-time reporting is available as ledger entries are posted. So let's hop into the software and take a look at how this all comes together. So what we see here is the Business Central Role Center for a project manager. The screen is organized so that a project manager will be able to do the majority of their work from here. Just kind of scrolling through it real quick, just as a brief overview, we maybe have some activities here where we can see there's some WIP that's been calculated but not posted. We can see there's a job over budget, so we definitely probably want to give that a look. I've listed myself as a project manager for project 9, so that's why this is showing here, and that project drives what projects show up here in these column charts. So you can see this is project 9, project 9, project 9. And we have a couple different charts here. One, just job profitability. How am I doing from just a revenue and cost and margin basis, just in raw dollars, not percentages. And then a job actual cost to budget, my actual cost versus my budgeted cost and what's left over so far. One thing that I do see straight away on my job list is that, I'm woefully underbilled. I've consumed 72%, nearly 72% of the costs of the project, but I've only billed 44%. So there's definitely an opportunity here to go look at this project and see what we can invoice and get an invoice out to that customer. Scrolling down a bit, we have some timesheet information, we have some approval information, so maybe some POs to approve or some timesheets to approve. And if we were to open up one of those timesheets, because that's how we get labor costs to the jobs, is through a timesheet. I can open up this timesheet and see that Jenny has submitted a timesheet to me for approval, and I can see that for this week she has worked on project 2 and 9 on these tasks with some detailed descriptions of what she did for those tasks and the hours that she spent doing them. Some summary levels here, and I can from there go in and decide to approve, reject. I can reopen the timesheet. Maybe there's a typo. I need to go fix some wording that I don't want. I want to be a little better presentation for the customer. So that's one. The timesheet is the way we get time into the job or get labor recorded. So we go back to the home page. We can go into project 9, the one that's underbilled, and just to give a quick overview of a project or a job setup, we see there's a general tab. That is quite simply the lists the customer and who's the project manager and person responsible, and just some basic information about the project. There's a posting tab. It's important from very important from an accounting perspective, because the job posting group is where we're going to define the GL accounts that we use for WIP processing. So critical step here. The WIP method, again, important from an accounting perspective. That's where we're going to define, is it a completed, how are we calculating WIP? Is it completed contract, cost of sales, percentage completion, and so on. Percentage completion has certainly become a much more popular method with the FASB RevRec changes from a couple of years ago. We have 3 other tabs here to keep track of if it's a foreign project, if we want to invoice customers in CAD or peso or euro and so on, we can do that. But I want to focus now on the tasks. That really is the meat and potatoes of the project setup. And I'm just going to pop on my focus window here. So we just see the tasks, and this is in essence our work breakdown structure, how we're going to manage the project. And in this case, we're building a new office building. So we had an architecture phase and a build phase and a furniture and fixtures installation phase. These are all costs on this section. Have a schedule of values here where we're going to invoice the customer based on milestones, and in this case, I've got the milestones just set up as the end of the month. So at each month end, we'll go and process invoices. I'm going to set up a change order here just to give an idea of how we could set up a change order. This is all can be configured in many different ways. This is just one way to do it. So one of the things I did want to do real quick is just show how easy it is to generate an invoice. We saw early on that this project was something like 72% through its cost, but only 44% billed. So how do we get caught up there? And we can see that in July we should have sent $500,000 in invoices, and we've only done 250,000 so far. So how do we fix that? You can just quite simply go in, open up our job planning lines, and from there I'm going to select the second planning line because we can see the quantity to transfer to invoice is not 0, so this still needs to be billed. And just at one click of a button, say create sales invoice. And we're just going to pretend that we're a little further forward in time and do that on July 31st. Click OK, and now we've created the invoice. And again, with a couple of simple button clicks, not navigating through menus, but just a couple of clicks here on the planning line page, and it takes me straight to that sales invoice. In this case, the services were non-taxable, so you don't see any tax calculated here. However, if this were taxable based on your customer's needs or the nature of the business, the system will certainly calculate sales tax. We could, if we wanted to, post this transaction and record that revenue. I'm just going to kind of skip that step in the interest of time. So that would, of course, got us caught up on our billings to some degree. One other item to point out on the jobs just quickly is our WIP calculation. So if I go back to that back to project 9, just to show that piece and how we would calculate WIP for a project. And I'm going to do it here for just a specific project, but there is a job WIP section where you can go calculate WIP for all open projects. So you don't have to do it job by job. But I can just click on the WIP selection and do calculate WIP. From here we just give our month end date, our WIP as of, we'll say 7/31. Click OK. WIP will calculate, and it's going to calculate with warnings because a couple of lines don't have some things that BC thinks they should have, but we work through that. And then we get a WIP calculation for some dollars moving them from some sort of income statement account through the balance sheet to the balance sheet, and those are all based on setups that we would work through with customers. And last but not least, and I'm not going to post that for now, we talked briefly a moment ago about Appsource and some of the companion apps, and just wanted to show one real quick, because we see a lot of nice information here, about start and end dates and when things are due, but does that really help us manage the project? Maybe, maybe not. But we have a visual job scheduler that can be, so there's a companion application that can be added into Business Central pretty easily. And now you get that Gantt chart that your project managers want to see and they want to use. And this is an interactive Gantt chart. So if I drug this line out a couple of weeks because something got delayed, the whole project plan is going to shift, and I can save that to Business Central, and it'll save the master data back to Business Central when we're going to actually execute those tasks. Thank you for your time and sticking with us today on this. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me at markd@dswius. Thank you. Thanks again for your time.
Hello, Texas CPAs. Thank you for joining us today while we discuss Acumatica Cloud ERP, Connected Business Delivered. Acumatica Cloud ERP provides the best business management solution for digitally resilient companies. Built for mobile and telework scenarios and easily integrated with the collaboration tools of your choice, Acumatica delivers flexibility, efficiency, and continuity of operations to growing and mid-market organizations. Using a forward-thinking approach, Acumatica created the Cloud XRP platform as the foundation of the software, with open architecture resulting in minimum to no custom, integration of new technology such as AI or machine learning, and industry-best functionality, connecting all users and expanding across multiple industries. The result is a customer-first environment where you own your data and you choose how Acumatica is deployed. Acumatica is the world's fastest growing ERP, Our future-proof platform enables us to continue moving forward in an ever-changing world of technology. From disaster recovery and continuity planning, Acumatica is always available, giving you access to your critical ERP information on any device, including laptops, smartphones, and tablets, even integrations with Alexa and smartwatches. Because of the open architecture, Acumatica's functionality can expand to best-in-class applications like Office 365 for email and sales opportunity tracking, e-commerce sites like Magento and BigCommerce, allowing your digital business to thrive, Power BI and Tableau to provide business intelligence for a comprehensive view of the company. Acumatica is business management software and the single source of truth for your business. From the front office all the way through to the back office, Acumatica supports multiple companies and multiple branches, as well as multiple currencies. All departments are connected in real time using Acumatica's platform, which allows your business to collaborate wherever your workforce may be. Access information instantly with dashboards, live inquiries, or financial statements, allowing you to remain agile in our ever-moving economy. Acumatica Cloud ERP offers solutions for field service, commerce, construction, distribution, and manufacturing industries. Acumatica is the only ERP system that can seamlessly move data across all modules in a single, uninterrupted workflow. This means companies serving one industry or a mix of industries can operate in a single environment. Today we will highlight why Acumatica's Manufacturing Edition enables manufacturers of any mode to benefit. As a manufacturer, knowing your costs and being able to track these costs allows your business to scale. The bills of materials and routings establish a standard. Purchased and manufactured components are managed with material requirements planning. Labor costs are captured in real time using scan devices or the native UI. Production is able to manage the factory with advanced scheduling tools. Create estimates for prototypes, new and existing products. Leverage the product configurator to generate a sales quote or a cost roll-up. Forecast, planned, and firm scheduling buckets help you plan for seasonal and customer demand. Finite and rough capacity scheduling enables you to work through a variety of operating scenarios. Keep your customers happy with accurate and true capability to promise dates. Every aspect mentioned above comes down to a single common denominator, the dollar, and knowing where and how the dollar flows enables you to maximize your value. Imagine starting your day with a quick glance at your smartphone. Acumatica's app enables you to do this with live information instead of waiting until you're in the office to run reports. You're able to proactively understand what needs to be accomplished and what must be addressed before viewing that first email. Once you're in the office, wherever your office may be, Acumatica dashboards can provide you a 360-degree view of your company's finances. You're able to know your cash position, follow through on your day-to-day activities, manage customer accounts, or appropriately time the payment of vendors to match your cash flow. Imagine if you could open your dashboard and be able to drill into your inventory detail without running any reports or looking at any spreadsheets. Inventory is like a bank vault, thousands or millions of dollars sitting on the shelves with Tom and Terry pulling material for sales and production orders. Inventory is a huge asset, and being able to access this information quickly means you can do your job effectively. The same rings true with work in progress, and actually believing the value of open production orders instead of waiting until the end of the month to do a net change journal entry from that spreadsheet Tom or Terry didn't update. Imagine if you could know the balance of WIP at a glance and be able to compare this value of your sales backlog without running any reports or looking at any spreadsheets. We can take WIP one step further. Knowing how production orders performed against the planned or estimated value is the key for every manufacturer. Imagine if you could know work orders needing attention before they're closed. Acumatica tracks costs of material, labor, subcontracting, and overhead as individual cost components, from estimating through production. This allows you to proactively meet with operations to address issues or home in on products with better than expected margins, providing the sales team with valuable information. You could then export the data to Excel or create live pivot tables where you could perform your own analysis, because now you actually have the time to do it. Imagine if you could run a mid-month P&L with the ability to drill into the data. You could stay fluid with your business and add exceptional value to your business. Acumatica uses account segments and sub-accounts for dimensional reporting, so you don't have to track your COGS or your sales on a spreadsheet. Acumatica Cloud ERP is the best path for transforming manufacturing to thrive in the new digital economy. Acumatica Cloud ERP is connected business delivered. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to share Acumatica with you today. For more information on Acumatica, please contact info@aswius.com.
Hello, and today we are going to review the allocation methodology, the advanced allocation methodology that's available in NetSuite. The benefit of this feature is that in NetSuite, for distributors, the biggest challenge is if you have sales orders that have an item that's been ordered by a customer and you see that it is back ordered, the salesperson may want to know, when will this item ship? What purchase order is coming in that it has this item allocated to it, pre-allocated to it? And if the purchase order gets received at a different date, or if the date changes from the supplier, how will the sales order get affected on the delivery date? So NetSuite, with its distribution capability and with the advanced allocation methodology, gives that relationship between the sales order and incoming purchase orders, and it allows you to cross-inform on the delivery dates without having to manually look up on the item record what is the status of incoming inventory. So let's look at the sales order here. As you can see on the screen here, the sales order shows that I have an order for these pants. 150 is ordered by the customer, and all 150 is back ordered. Now, initially, when this item got placed in order, the system automatically puts an expected ship date based on the lead time that is set on the item record. So we'll take a look at the item record here. And on the item record, you will see that under the inventory tab, I have set up lead times for this item automatically based on past history. So what happened is when I placed the order, since the item was back ordered, it figured out the automatic lead time and said, okay, based on that, we anticipate this thing coming in from on the 26th. But now your buyer will go into the inventory order item screen. And when they go to the order item screen, they will see that this item, and we'll go ahead and order it for the warehouse where, so this one was ordered on the US West warehouse. So I'll go ahead and select US West. And when I select that, under reorder point items, I can see the pants are on a back order, and you can see the system is recommending that I order 294 to bring it up to the preferred stock level. We'll go ahead and order 300, and we'll generate a PO. So this is going to submit, and it's going to create a PO for the system. Okay. Let's check here. And you can see, oops, did not create the PO. Let me go back to the order item screen. There it is. Go ahead and create the PO. And it created PO number 306. And on the PO, if you notice, the expected date is 5/22 based on the lead time. But let's say, for example, the PO, we find out that the vendor said, hey, I can get it to you on the 15th. So the buyer updates the PO and changes this to the 15th. It's coming in a little early, and we'll save it. So when that happens, the system automatically has allocated the inventory to the sales order. So if you look at the sales order now, you can see that 150 has been pre-allocated of the 150 ordered. It's still back ordered because the PO is not here yet, but it has allocated 150 of the 300 I've ordered on the PO on this sales order. And you can see when you click that link, it tells you that purchase order 306, we have 300 coming in on 5/15, and 150 of this will be allocated to this sales order. And so here on the right-hand side, expected ship date has also updated to 5/15. So the benefit here is that when the salesperson has placed the order, he can communicate to the customer effectively that, hey, I've got this coming in on 5/22. It was back ordered. So he sets correct expectation with the customer. But the biggest challenge in distribution business is RPOs can come in early, can come in late, certain lines can be delayed, and that information usually flows between your vendor or your supplier and the buyers. And the communication between the buyers and the sales team is usually broken, or it's not consistent. Somebody has to manually inform them, communicate to the customer. By doing it this way, somebody who's monitoring sales orders and managing the customer relationship doesn't have to go anywhere, don't have to call the purchase order person, figure out when this is going to come in, look in the item record, none of that. They can simply go to the sales order, view the line that there is in question, and see that the thing is coming in on that day. In addition, there is a reallocate capability on this order. So for example, if I click on the reallocate, that shows me what's going on with this customer and all the orders that are associated with this, and the sales rep associated, and all the items, all the orders of that item. And I can see what has been committed, right? I can then change the allocation, uncheck something and check something, and figure out what orders I want to move around, right? So for example, if your allocation demand exceeds what's coming in on the purchase order, they can reallocate in advance that allows them to see, which order is going to get priority over the incoming inventory. And finally, on the distribution side, on the purchase order itself, the allocation shows up by looking. So when you receive it, it says demand allocated. See, allocated demand. What's nice about this is when they receive the order in the warehouse, they can tell that, hey, this purchase order has all this, out of the 300 that is coming in, 150 needs to go for this sales order. The benefit here is you can do some cross-docking. If you're using native NetSuite and don't have a sophisticated WMS system on the back end, you can simply utilize this capability where your receiving warehouse team member can look at this and say, yep, I'm not going to put away the 300 pieces because 150 of them need to immediately ship out on this sales order, which is pending. So they can, instead of putting it away in the warehouse, they can cross-dock it, place it on the shipping table, and immediately send it out to that customer. So this is the advanced allocation methodology within NetSuite. Very helpful for distribution businesses that are managing multiple inventory demands on a single item across multiple orders, being able to communicate effectively delivery dates to customers, and predicting accurately when the items are going to be received in the warehouse. Thank you.
I'd like to say a special thank you to all of our presenters today. You did a tremendous job. And just a quick wrap up, Sage Intacct, I would give thumbs up to consolidations, inter-entity, project-based, large number of entities. And then you're going to see over the next few quarters, construction is really going to raise to the top, I think. Microsoft, again, as you saw, great fit for distribution, multi-language, the energy industry, light manufacturing. Acumatica, a real force, especially with their licensing, unlimited user licensing for free. But manufacturing, construction, you're going to see it shine there. And then, of course, Oracle NetSuite that does real well in a lot of verticals, including retail, education, manufacturing. So again, thank you for being with us. I just want to wrap up with one more thing, and that would be, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about CoreLove. We've partnered with this Defend the Orphan group, and we are organizing trips around the world. I know that sounds crazy in a COVID-19 world that we live in today, but we are hoping to, as soon as travel restrictions are lifted, we'll be going to Haiti and love on kids in orphanages there, India and China, and of course, working very closely with the local organizations here in the United States as well. So any interest in CoreLove, my information will be on the last slide there. But any interest in going with us on one of these trips, we'd love to have you come with us. And I guarantee that it will change your life. So thank you again for being with us and reviewing the future of cloud accounting.